All right, ladies, gentlemen, everybody, um, good afternoon, and um, say that I'm glad you're here today. We're only at 20 out of possible 27, I believe, so 21. So I'm going to wait here just a moment, but um, what I want you to do is in the chat function, put your initial reaction to writing your first DBQ with a small amount of pressure. Okay, go ahead and do that now, please. What was your initial reaction? Only up to 3 words. Our first one is, oh boy. So put that in the chat function, please. Our initial reaction. Smiley face. There you go. I like that. All right. Let's see what we got from the class. That's a little aggressive, Lucy McJunkins. You're not. Harder than expected. This is yikes, overwhelming, no time, overwhelmed, scared, stressful, hard to explain, panic, oh no, nervous, a little nerve-wracking. This is timed, question mark, nervous, panic, already fed up. Okay, so that sounds like a positive experience. Mr. Renshaw's in the back here, absolutely cracking up. We just got scared. All right, so that's why we practiced it right when you got back from break, because I didn't want to waste any more time. Does everyone understand that? We've got to get better, okay? It's like riding a bike. How many of you, got on a bike with 2 wheels and no training wheels, and just started riding it down the street 30 miles an hour? Nobody, okay? I watch my kids learn things. It takes a while, okay? So whatever these expressions are with DBQ, I understand it. I saw it on your faces as you were writing yesterday. Other than Liliana with the smiley face, everyone else, we can do this, okay? So go to your Canvas page, please. I'm going to share the screen, I guess, to show you where we're going. And I've got quite a bit to do today to kind of go over and review. And then you're going to be doing an exercise. Smiling in the face of fear. I got you. Okay. Nice clarification for us. All right. So I'm in modules. So if you guys could go to modules, I'm sharing that screen with you. I'm going to click on Whap DBQ Help 2020-2021. Okay. And so you could ask Mr. Renshaw, spent the last hour plus, 1, analyzing the essays you wrote, and 2, trying to give you a sense of structure, because I realized when I went through and looked at the essays that the structure was just all over the place. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of talk through this sheet. What I think you ought to do, and again, this is your own personality, but you probably should download this and make your own notes on here as well for things that you might have been confused on, and or things that you maybe need to work on or help on. And so you're making mental notes here as we're doing this. I'm going to get a new share here then, and we're going to go to DBQ Help, and it looks like this. So after having analyzed just briefly, again, 2 classes worth of DBQs, I came up with some things that we really need to focus on, okay? I would say, first off, the DBQ must be 5 paragraphs and a minimum, like a bare minimum of 4 sentences in each paragraph. Why do I say this? From what I looked at, I saw some paragraphs that were like are in the range of like a sentence, and others that were maybe like 8 to 10 sentences. Okay, so let's focus on this. If we have 5 paragraphs with a minimum of 4 sentences. I'm not very good at math, but I'm thinking that's a minimum of 20 sentences. Okay. But it has to be 5 paragraphs. So picture that in your mind. I know you've worked on this in middle school before. I think you've worked on it a 5x5. I've heard it called before. There's a lot of different strategies, but okay, you have to be able to do that, and we need to get that structure correct. Okay. I think in terms of citing documents, we were very confused. So when you cite a document, at the end of the document, you must say blah, 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 end it, and then say doc period number 4, and it has to be in parentheses. Okay. Also, just want to quickly add to this that if you have a question while I'm going through this, please put it in the chat function so that I can slow down and go over it again. So here's what I'm going to say. When we are writing, when we get to the citation of a document, okay, in the body paragraph, make sure after you say that, according to, if I'm writing a document of the Enlightenment, according to Rousseau, he said that all people need to engage in a social contract. Okay. And then I would put parentheses, doc, period, number, and then whatever the number document was. It could have been 1 through 7. Okay. So you don't put 4 for every one. Okay. You just put the number that it is. You think I'm saying that tongue in cheek, but I've done this so many years that sometimes people literally take it and they take it literal. That number 4 is representative of the numbers 1 through 7. Okay. Whichever document 1 through 7 that you're citing. All right. The next piece of advice then, always try to use all 7 documents. Okay. You might sit there and get stuck on a particular document for a while, but the thing about that is the night before I had given you the opportunity to read through the documents. So I wasn't anticipating a lot of confusion on the documents. I was anticipating that you would have had them kind of mapped out already. So if that happens if that happens again, where I'm giving you the documents ahead of time, make sure you understand them. And again, you're not going to get them ahead of time when you write the actual essay. Okay. But 6 is a bare minimum. Okay. They used to use 9 documents or up to 16. And so you had a little wiggle room here. There is no wiggle room. We are not trying to write mediocre essays. Okay. This is Whap class. I'm not trying to say you're perfect, but I do expect the best from you. And again, this is how you're going to do it. 7 documents. Okay. Brooke brought up a very good point going to this second point right here. When you cite a document, Brooke, you said if you paraphrase, you can start out saying in document 2. That's fine, Brooke. I totally agree with the paraphrase there, but I still want to see parentheses, doc number, or parentheses, doc period number 2 after that. Okay. And why is this is like a math equation. Okay. If you were to leave a simple plus minus, I don't know what the fancy signs are you guys use, a square root or something out of a math assignment, and on accident, you would for sure get it wrong. Well, in this instance, put the number on there so you're not giving the reader any ambiguity. No reason to think that you might have messed this up. Also, people's eyes tend to naturally flow towards a number when they see it. Okay. And so sometimes someone could skip over in doc 2, it says this, but they're not going to skip over a parentheses, doc period number 3, another parentheses. Brooke, does that help? I'm looking at you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's go to grouping then. Remember, grouping is not on the thesis. All right, it's not in the actual rubric. At no point in time does it actually say grouping. It actually just says make a logical argument. If you remember right, we went over that on Tuesday. So I use the word grouping or buckets. Some of you might have used that in middle school because it is an easy way to look at the essay. So each body paragraph 2, 3, and 4 should have a minimum of 2 documents cited below the topic sentence. I saw a lot of times where people used 1 document in a paragraph, or they used 2. 2 is fine. Okay. 1 is not okay. More than 2 is perfectly fine. Okay. It really is going to depend on the set of documents that you get. But of the 7, it's probably going to almost every time I've ever seen from a college board, it always goes about 2, 2, 2. And then the 7th document is something that you're like scratching your head about. Like I'm seeing Grace scratch your head like, I don't know if this is right or not. But it's like, it's one of those where you want to put your hands up in the air like my son does when he's done eating, and you just go, where does that 7th document go? But typically it's going to go 2, 2, 2, and then you need to figure out where that 7 hole goes. Okay. So keep that in mind. I mean, seriously, if you're like, oh man, I've got 5 documents that sound the same and 2 that I have no idea, you're not reading the prompt correctly to what the documents are saying. Okay. Then you need to go back to the prompt and analyze it. Any questions about that? Does that make sense? We're good. Can I get a thumbs up from anyone who has a video on? Lucille, thank you. All right, let's talk about your thesis statement. Nobody did this, probably because I didn't tell you to. But every time you write a DBQ, which in every single year before 2020, you had to write them by hand unless you have a some type of disability or you get some kind of ability to write it on the computer, which I've only had, or type on the computer, I've only had 2 people in 8 years get that. Okay. You're going to be handwriting this. Always underline the thesis for yourself, but also it helps the reader. Okay. Everyone understand this. This is not a suggestion. If the thesis is not underlined, anytime I look at an essay from here on out, I will not grade it. I will just send it back to you, or I'll put not handed in or a 0 until it's underlined. Okay, so make that note on your computer, highlight it, bold it, put it in pink with green letters, whatever is going to make you remember that you need to highlight or underline that thesis statement. Okay. Then always make sure your topic sentence of paragraphs 2, 3, and 4, these are the body paragraph, comes directly from your thesis. I read probably 10 or 15 that were like spot on, and I was extremely excited about it. Okay. I also read another 40 that I didn't know what was going on. Okay. A lot of times it's because there was no thesis statement. But remember that once you write your thesis, the topic sentence of the next 3 paragraphs should come directly from the thesis. Next, make sure you're answering the question directly from the prompt. If your thesis doesn't in some way, shape, or form regurgitate what the prompt was, there's a huge chance that you're going to miss out on the fact that you didn't answer the right question. Okay. And I saw people hurry yesterday and kind of panic, and the panic caused people to not answer the question. So be very, very aware of that. If you're handwriting this, I always tell people to circle the action verbs and circle what it's asking you to do in the prompt. Okay. All right. Next, you should always mark where you add extra evidence so it is abundantly clear for the reader to see it. Okay. So when you're handwriting this, you would write extra evidence on the side of the document. Okay. You would do it with an arrow. Extra evidence, arrow. Now, because you're not doing this by hand, and you're typing it, you need to either put a note on the side, because you can do notes on Google Docs or in Microsoft Word, that this is your extra evidence, or you need to color code it and put it either on the top that this color is my extra evidence, or on the bottom that this color is my extra evidence. But it has to be such that a 5-year-old could find your extra evidence in your document, because it's a color. Okay, I don't know, maybe even a 3-year-old. I think my kids will know colors by 3 or 2.5, maybe 2. Okay, that's how obvious I want it to be. Okay, the next thing that I don't think I told you about is that, and I wanted to see where we got with this, you don't want to do a bare minimum of 1 piece of extra evidence. You want to do 3 pieces of extra evidence, 1 in each body paragraph. Okay? If you're writing a body paragraph and you're making an argument in your thesis that this is what you are, you're the master of this topic and you're writing this essay, an argumentative essay, you're going to know 1 piece of evidence for each body paragraph. So I expect to see 3 total pieces of extra evidence in the essay from now on, 1 per body paragraph. And I'll show you what that will look like here in a second. Any questions on that? Does anybody want to know why I would expect you to do more than the rubric? No? Okay, it's the same thing why you try to go for 7 instead of 6. Why you try to use point of view in every single document. Because it gives you a better chance to score better, okay? And unfortunately, this is the thing I hate about this course is teaching to a test. I'd rather teach to just kids and students who want to learn, okay? That's the piece of it that we got to get. Okay. All right, this was interesting. So after having looked at your sourcing of the documents from Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, we turned them in, and then the DBQ writes from yesterday. When you source a document, you only use 1 letter of the soapstone when you source it, and you write why it affects the document. So some people try to do like every letter of a soapstone. No, you're just trying to identify 1 reason why this person's bias or limitation changed how they wrote the document, how they sang it, if it was a song, how it changed the poem that they made, how it changed the box that they created, etc. Okay? So the why it affects the document is the most important thing. So I have an example for you. Simply, it should say simply, not simple. Simply saying it is an upper class person is not enough. This would be a better example. The upper class businessman would write this, and then you see the because statement. When you're showing sourcing, always use because. Okay? And again, I would really highly recommend that you underline that if you're taking notes right now. Always use because. And it says the upper class businessman would write this because he has no idea how the poor people live. Okay? Does everyone see the because statement? That shows that you're saying the why. And again, I cannot tell you enough why that's so important. Okay? You have to explain it. Okay? I mean, all right. I think, does anybody have any questions about all of those points I just went over? Please ask now, as it will make our lives much easier in the long run. Anybody? Okay. Lily asked if I could possibly drum up an old essay that's a body paragraph done well. I can probably do that on the fly, Lily. But let me finish this, okay? Good question. Anybody else? Okay, so let's go to what the structure then would look like. So this makes more sense because the structure that I saw from a lot of people was all over the board. All right, so this first paragraph. Contextualization might have been hard, but for this essay, I was thinking that most of you would have been able to put into context something like, something catchy, like the Reformation and the Renaissance were occurring simultaneously in Western Europe. Constantinople had been taken by the Ottoman Empire, and the Europeans needed a route to find the spices that they had longed for and didn't want to pay 3 times the amount because of Muslim traders. Okay, I was thinking you would pick up on that for the contextualization. I didn't see a lot of it. Okay, and the funnel approach then would be, because of influences like the fall of Constantinople, the Renaissance, and the Reformation, Europeans needed a way to find access to these goods and Chinese goods, etc. And so then that would be the motives for exploration. Okay. And then that would lead into your thesis statement. Okay. So something catchy about what's going on that's pretty broad. Your first sentence, your contextualization, 2 more, and then your thesis statement. It should be 1 sentence. If you think it's a super run-on sentence, then go and make it into 2 sentences. Okay. Now, a body paragraph looks like this. Okay. And Hannah Hiddle just said something very astute in the comment section here. And she's right. You can find a ton of sample DBQ answers on the College Board website. Okay. And a lot of them that got 7 out of 7. But the body paragraphs aren't going to look the same. Okay. And so I think it's much easier to give you this equation to follow than to necessarily show you what a very advanced senior from San Francisco wrote, and they gave a 7 out of 7. Okay. You are all 14 and 15. We're not taking this class as 17, 18-year-olds in high school. All right. So paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 here. Start with your topic sentence, which comes from your thesis, your roadmap. Then go for a document citation. Okay. A document citation would mean that Rousseau says that all people give up some of their rights in order to be in this social contract to provide safety for all people. And then I would put parentheses whatever document it was from. Now, that was assuming that would match my topic sentence. Then source the document. And I would say something to this extent. While Rousseau is making a good point about giving up some of your freedom, he likely is being protected because he is educated, upper class, and was friends with Catherine the Great of Russia. Okay, that shows his limitation. Remember, I said the because statement. Then I would go for extra evidence. And I might say, in this extra evidence, giving up some of your rights was also something that an Enlightenment thinker named John Locke said that we have to do to protect our liberty and freedom. There would be an easy piece of extra evidence. Then you go into another document, and you might say, well, Baron de Montesquieu also agreed that we give up some of our social liberties, our freedoms, in order to be protected by society. That comes from document number, and then just do the parentheses, doc number 6, okay? Then Baron de Montesquieu is writing this at a time when people were very mad at Enlightenment thinkers because they thought they were going to cause upheaval in society. So because he was a polarizing figure, he shows limitations in this because he was trying to make people upset. Okay, so that goes into the purpose of the document. So I used P on the soapstone there. Now, this would ideally be 6 sentences. It probably won't be more. The hardest part about this is just blending in the documents to make them what they call corroborate with each other. Remember that weird word I used the other day? Corroboration. That's what they want you to do. They want you to make this flow together. Okay? Now, let's move on to paragraph 5. So, you're making this argument. And so, once you're done with your body paragraphs, you're going to start paragraph 5 with a CCOT, a comparison, or a cause and effect from another time, same place, or at the same time, different place. All right? Or a different place, different time. There's 3 ways to look at that. But when you introduce this comparison, CCOT or cause effect, introduce it with a similar event happened or a similar situation happened in China in the 1930s and 1940s. You could easily compare the Enlightenment to the Chinese Communist Revolution because, okay? So see how we have another because statement here. Does everybody see that? The because statement is very, very, very important. Okay, and then after you say the because statement, I would also reiterate in your third, or say again in your third sentence, how the 2 were similar. Okay? This may only be 3 sentences if you only have time. I made it look like it was 4 just because I wanted to follow what I had said at the top right here, if you remember right. But the fact that, and then restate your thesis. It doesn't have to be the exact same, but it should be fairly similar to what you did in paragraph 1. Now, that's going to be a really good framework for you to use to write your essay. Now, obviously, that would be only using 6 documents. You can use 2, 3, 4, 5 in a body paragraph. You can also use a document more than once. Okay? You don't have to use it just one time. You can use it in multiple body paragraphs. Okay, sometimes that can help. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a quick Google search for you, and then I'm going to put this link in the chat. Give me about 30 seconds. Take a 30-second brain break. Check your text or something. Read all your snaps. Play with your hair. I don't know. Do something. Give me 30 seconds. All right. That was 30 seconds. Put your play phones away or whatever. You're not enough time to play a game on your phone, folks. All right, here we go. Let's switch to share here to good old Chrome. And I just posted this link on the chat. Does everybody see that? This is the free response questions from 2018 all the way down to when they started the AP exam. Actually, I think they started in 2000, but you can go through every single sample. And then when you click on it, you'll see sample responses to DBQ. When you click on 2017, sample responses to DBQ, I think they give you at least 3 sample responses. They changed the format in 2017 by adding LEQ and SAQ. or short answers. So they'll look a little bit different after that. But that should give you an idea of what the prompts are, and also a lot of different responses to essays that you can look at. By, let's say, tomorrow, I will drum up one that was written by an actual student. I'll see if I can make a PDF version of somebody who wrote this essay that you're writing last year and give you a really good example, okay? But that's going to take some super searching for me, and I don't know if I threw them all away or not when I was cleaning house last year. All right. Okay, we're going to move on then, if everyone is still with me. And here's what we're going to do now today, and it might end up being homework, okay? I might probably have to change the time on this. I don't know what time this period ends. All right. So for everybody that wrote an essay, again, not everybody wrote an essay, but for everyone that did, we are going to do a peer edit, okay? And now, don't get me wrong. I understand that this is not your best work. You were pressured. It's the first time. But we're going to do a peer edit. And in this peer edit, it gives you a lot of opportunities to add suggestions for your peer so that they can rewrite this, okay? So you're going to use the sheet below to edit one of your peers' DBQ essay. This is what will be expected in the final draft of the essay due Wednesday, January 13th. So when you read the document in your peer editing, remember, you'll have to make yours follow the guidelines I just went over and the rules that are on the peer edit. Please read the directions very carefully. When you turn in your essay next Wednesday, your rewrite, you will also turn in your peer greeting sheet that you completed for another person, okay? So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to put you into pairs, all right? We only have about 10 minutes left. You're going to exchange essays, okay? So if you made it a Google Doc or if you made it a Word doc, you're going to need to make it a Google Doc, and you need to exchange with the person that you get paired up with, okay? Then you are going to complete the peer editing sheet. Let me show you what that looks like real quick. That looks like this, okay? Peer editor name, paper writer name, and then you really just fill out, literally follow the directions, and then the last thing you're going to do is give them a score, okay? So get with your partner, exchange the documents, and this is absolutely a grade, yes. Okay, this is the best, absolutely the best way to learn how to write this essay. We've done this. I can't tell you how many times Mr. Tom and Mr. Broderick, when we went to the College Board and did this, this is exactly how we learned. Like they tell you how to do it. All right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take this one step further. I am going to let you do this peer editing sheet on your own first. Does everyone see that? So where it says peer editor name and paper writer name, you're going to put the same name. I'm going to make an executive decision to change my mind right now. Everyone hear that? That way, if you didn't put the best, this was your first time, if you recognize that you need to do some changes, I want to see this turned in then by tomorrow at 11 a.m. Does everyone understand that? Okay, I want to see what changes you would have made, and I want you to show, and then we'll do another peer edit after that where you can exchange when you're ready to. All right, we'll scaffold it even more. Just after having gone through the responses, I think that would probably be the best thing. Okay, so changing this up, Grace, maybe you made me have a big heart. Wow, you're lucky. Okay, now, hopefully not an enlarged heart that like explodes or anything though. That'd be bad. All right. everyone understand you're going to be doing this to your own essay, and then you're going to turn this back in. I'll change the time of the assignment to 11 a.m., and we're going with it, okay? What I'm going to do here is go back to Chrome on the share here, and I will change this time to tomorrow at 11 a.m. and absolutely have to do this. It's another 10-point assignment. So it's just like a reading quiz, and get this done by 11 tomorrow. Okay. Here's what I want. I want to do a frequently asked questions, or I want at least 3 questions. Nobody is allowed to leave Zoom. I can see how many people are on here. Nobody leaves until I get 3 good questions in the chat function. If you leave, I have your names here. I will take participation points off your grade. 3 good questions. No, Katie, my favorite color is blue, but that does not count. I want 3 questions about a DBQ. Come on, class. We got 7 minutes to do this. The saying document 4 shows count as citing. That's a great question, Grace. And that's what I was trying to say earlier was that is not going to count. Even though you say you're saying it, I want to see, this is what I want to see. Parentheses, doc, period, number 4, even if you say that. Okay. Brooke Brown, excellent question 2. She said, when grading your own essay, do you either get the point or not, and not like a half point? Okay. I'm going to put the answer in here for everybody, just in case they're not listening. No half points. Okay. Good question. It's either you get the point or you don't get the point. There are no half points. Okay. Lucille Hiddle said, can our first and last paragraph be our shortest paragraph if you want them all to be the same kind of length? The first and the last paragraph are definitely going to be shorter paragraphs. Okay. And because you have less work to do in those paragraphs. Good question. I got a question from Nyla that said, what is the most effective way to write a good thesis for the DBQ? The most effective way is to group the documents first to find out the 3 main things that they're saying about the prompt. And so the first thing you do is to group those documents, to pull out of those documents 3 main points that it's saying about your prompt. And you should be able to find that. Liliana, can the extra evidence be about the same thing, but in a different place? Yes. Okay. And Liliana, that's actually a very complex thing to do. And so that's where you'd be working towards that 7th point. Okay. On the rubric where it's talking about historical nuances. That'd be highly sophisticated if you did that in your body paragraph. That's good. Luella, is it possible for me to convert Word documents to something I can edit? Yes. I would convert the Word document to a Google Doc. Okay. You're using your school account. Liliana said, what is the average score of a DBQ? She put parentheses about a 2. It's usually about 2 and a little bit of change, like 2.3, between 2.2 to 2.4. It's not above a 3. I've never seen the average above a 3. Jackson says, should we grade our essays now or after we fix everything? Jackson, you're going to grade them now because you're going to give yourself suggestions that's going to help you to rewrite it and make it significantly better. Okay. Hannah Hiddle said she has a doctor's appointment. I wanted to show you a video before you leave. Is this thesis supposed to be because statement as well? No, the thesis does not have to be a because statement. What part of the DBQ should we focus on if we're stuck writing it and running out of time? Also, a really good question. If you're stuck, you get your points, okay? You always want to get your points. So if you're stuck, extra evidence, point of view, thesis statement, contextualization. Those are the easiest points to get. That's what you do, okay? We'll talk about that way later down the road. Don't worry about that now because we're just trying to get a perfect DBQ before we worry about running out of time. Okay, I'm letting you go back. I just wanted you to experience it one time. All right. I'm gonna put this up to the camera. Let's see if you can see it. Let me see if I can find it. This is Lily, my daughter. Oh, we missed it. Hold on. She's slam dunking on the new basketball hoop she got. Yeah. All right. Everybody have a great day. Good questions. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Okay. Bye-bye.
Mr. Burnett,
Yes.
would comparing like the time like the age of just exploration to like the exploration of space, would that be a comparison
Oh yeah.
or contextualization?
That'd be a really good comparison to. That'd be a good comparison in your last paragraph.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Good job. Vivian, do you have a question? Just hanging out, huh?